Okay, good morning. Okay, good morning again. Welcome to Good Morning Anambra. I'm on the morning edition today, the 16th day of the month of January 2023. I'm just being careful not to say 2022. You know, it's like that's when the year just begins. Okay, welcome. Happy New Year, by the way. I don't think we have seen this year. Yes, I've been on vacation. I'm just back. Happy New Year. My name is Tijama Uche. Okay, we have lined up some programs for your viewing pleasure this morning. If you stay tuned, we're going to start with press review. Welcome. Okay, welcome again. Joining me this morning to look at what the papers are saying as Mr. Samuel Olulu. Mr. Samuel Olulu is a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Sam.
AIJ, good morning, Danambra. Happy New Year to us all.
Okay, good to have you here. And I also have a Simon Mwafo. Mwafo.
Beauty that the white man made democracy to be better than other systems of government, of governance. So, in that case, each party now has the onus lies on the parties to select the best material they have so that they will catch the votes of the masses. If not, they will be. So APGA, I congratulate them, and then I wish each party luck, good luck. So that because the masses are now aware and they are all eager to make the best choice because we cannot miss it this time around.
All right, thank you very much, Lulu. Some people were saying that the campaign flag off of the APCA is rather late, coming late. And then what do you expect from that?
Well, I'm not a politician. I think I would say as a public and analyst. Surprisingly, we have less than 48 days to election or thereabout. Well, I don't know APGA's timetable to start with. If they had it in their timetable to start this time, they know best. But for me, it's better late than never. There is no way they wouldn't have flagged off their campaign season. Let's remember that a lot of other parties have started. And this is 16th day of January. General election will be on the 25th of February. So I want to believe clearly that now a lot of citizens have made up their minds on who to vote. So I wonder, that APGA flagged off their campaign just recently does not mean they've not really been canvassing for votes. They just made it ceremonial and official, still part of to weigh the heat of the political season that we are in. I wish them well, but beyond that, this is us reaching out to all the political parties to play fairly, and they should not hit up the polity. They should understand that the citizens are looking up to them, and they are going to set the tone. While political parties do what they need to do, we also encourage the security, all paraphernalias of government and the citizens to ensure that the system goes smoothly. There is no gain in dismantling the system just because you want to grab power.
Thank you very much. Whichever way, this is Nkanye. You have to go Nkanye. So we represent APGA as a party in Anambra State, wherever we are. Okay, let's look at what happened yesterday. 15th January is usually declared Armed Forces Remembrance Day. And it also happened here in Anambra State. I saw the CP, I saw the governor, I saw a whole lot of people laying wreaths. And then we're going to join the two stories together again. Soludo lost Nigerian military for gallantry, seeks support for families of fallen heroes. And then Anambra State Assembly Speaker Okafo Esto's contribution of ex-servicemen to nation building. And I want to ask you now, with all these ceremonies, all this pomp and pageantry, is it only on the 15th of January? Is there anything on the ground that is going on for the ex-servicemen?
Yes, that is a nice question. It is good to have a day to remember anybody at all, not even a serviceman. Anybody who has contributed to the nation or to the well-being of people. It is good to remember such people. But more than that, as you said, we ought to be proactive and know the duties and responsibilities that is to be attached to the to our servicemen, even when they are living, and they are those who survived them when they might have gone. So, because to give service to the nation is not a small thing. They can lose their life at any time, and it is not always good. Yeah, they can lose their lives. Somebody may wake up in the morning. Just like if you look at the news that is flying everywhere now. Some people will be on the watch in somewhere. Before the morning, their family members will no longer see them. So it is good for the government and whoever is responsible, the authorities responsible, to take care of so that they will cushion the effects, the feelings of those they left behind. So it is not going to be only on that day they will be remembered and forgotten again. Let us always take care of their survivors.
Okay, for want of time, let's move on now. Let's get to the papers. And the first paper this morning is the Daily Sun newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper, we have the story making the round there saying general election, anxiety over expected retirement of IGP, DIGs, AIGs, CPs, and 290 others. Let's look at the rider. Stakeholders raise fears over election security, and then military will give police required support, pledges CDS Irabo. But beside the name template of the Daily Sun, we'll have this other story saying outrage over burning to death of Catholic priest in Niger. With a rider there, we have launched manhunt for culprits. This one is coming from the police. Okay, and down here I have reject candidates who shun debates, identities, as Pastor urges voters. Reject who shun debates, identities. Pastor Bakari urges voters. Okay, let's see from this side. High as CBN domestic cut and worshippers abduct Castina came Niger to cast. City consumer against PDP, okay? This paper, the Daily Sun. Let's look at the paper. Newspaper, the front page of the Punch newspaper from CBN, 7 trillion. Lenders post-COVID pick up. Okay, I think that's down here. I have widows and honors falling so what we're independent newspaper sparse and then weaker banner headline and to high in weaker night. Down here I have 6 lawyers one against prices 6 sons for to arrest MF to be devil in this nation. Look at the ones who have before we start killing again. I don't know, some of us are saying, is it to discredit the preparation of the election or the election proper? Otherwise, why would they beseech what churches to kill reverend gentlemen?
It is very unfortunate. Even when I read it before we started, I felt bad. If you look at it, seems as if that is the invoke now, that is the trending, going after clergymen, killing innocent people, worshiping God. That is very unfortunate. And just as you asked, whether it is to sabotage the election or what. Now, but the point is, even when we were analyzing the remembering the ex-servicemen, I wanted to point out that if we take proactive measures, we will not even be having much of these killings and because some of these security people die when they're supposed to die. Because if they are given adequate they will not be killed. Wake up in the morning. Even in the family will no longer. The government security of government.
Let's look at the because now you hear about retaliation. Are we in a religious war, or what do you think of this reverend gentleman being killed?
I wouldn't say we are in a religious war. I was in Abu. I know how as freely everybody interacting, looking for find out creative manner how to forward. For me, I would not say we war.
Who are we?
Just that,
the young.
Well, you know, as an analyst, I work with an NGO. Most times, you would need to go to the first discourse. It was just happened to be Abuja.
Okay.
And it was not just Christians that were there. Muslims were there. Igbos, people from Southeast extraction, Northern region were also there. It's nobody challenging ideas coming out. So in a country where system, I know that if they want to get to work, they know what to do.
Actually, I was going to ask you that. The police said they have launched a manhunt to this, and there has been a series of manhunts. Okay, have they been able to hunt it down?
Beyond this, I know the intelligence gathering. I also know the other systems. Some they say they don't want to read these things for security. So, the main thing is when we were talking about when we were looking at papers from ABS, we have people who have been kidnapped. Many a times that these kidnapped citizens have been released. They pay ransom. You cannot trace them from that means. Sometimes you release these people and you cannot go further to find the kidnappers. So you are only emboldening them. You are only making some feel like the sacred cow. But if people know that there is always a repercussion to any action that they will do, I tell you they will think twice. So beyond the rhetorics of citizens that criminals, there is no space for criminals here, that we are going to hunt the criminals, right from childhood, I've always heard that line. I think we want a society where the security agencies will be up and doing. They'll be running functionally. Okay. And then yesterday, when we celebrated the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, it's unfortunate that because of the nature, the government, the leaders take activities in the country, it has made many of our security members lose their lives where they are not supposed to lose their lives.
Where they are not
and
supposed to
nothing happens to them. And so others, what kind of courage would they have to continue to work in the interest of peace in the nation? So for me, I just feel what the police, security agencies need to do is they should take their faces away from the leaders and look towards the Constitution and do what the Constitution says they should do. Protect lives and make sure that there is law and order in the citizens, regardless of what the politicians want them to do.
I like that. Protect lives and then make sure there's law and order, but you know that the order trickles from the top, okay? When you want to do something and you are ordered to stop. So what do you do? What do you do? Because that's just the problem we're facing here. Okay, let's move on. Talking about the security men, anxiety, general election anxiety over expected retirement of IGP, DIGs, and AIGs, a whole lot of them. I think these are the people that have been preparing for the election for the past 4 years, and now that the election is due to take place, most of them are retiring. Okay. Do you think it's going to have any kind of effect on the election itself?
Definitely, it will be taking a right decision at the wrong time, and that is what we have been facing in this nation. If you look at some of the policies we have that have been made or tried to implement, look at the change of naira, this thing, and some other things, the banking and so on and so forth. You see that they may come up with a good policy, but the way to implement it, the timing will be wrong. So what I'm saying, it will not be nice to start to change the security chiefs at this point in time, unless there is something that is fishing, unless there is a particular reason. Otherwise, it will affect the status quo. It may give room for something, for manipulation, for something to go.
They said the retirement is expected. So if they are due to retire this January, wouldn't they go? But there's so many of them.
That's what I'm saying.
290 and then.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, they say, they come in batches. So this is the batch that's supposed to be
leaving. And if they had known that they will retire at this point in time, they ought to have been some people who would have taken all. There was one IG or so who ought to retire. then the presidency shifted or gave him so you can just
Okay, they can do this.
hey, yes, now the constitution allows you can even approach the National Assembly for the sake of the election, so that this man will complete this thing and hand over to another person.
But from the right, that the military said that they will give police the necessary, the required support. But do we need the military in the election?
That is the point.
Sam?
No, respectfully, I'm seeing this from another angle, from what he has already said. I want to believe that we should do more on system strengthening. And when you're talking of a system, everything should happen at the appropriate time. When it is time for it to happen, let it happen. Let's not begin to look at events or circumstances, because that would always amount to shifting the goalpost. This is me calling that what we should be looking at more in Nigeria is strengthening a system in a way whereby, regardless of who is there, it would not affect the outcome of that system.
Okay, having strong institutions.
And I know that is what one of the presidential candidates who will be talking at Chatham House today captured his presentation. He was talking about reforms and strong institutions. So regardless of what should happen, I'm thinking what the security agency should do, just like every other institution. One, it is your time, leave, but make sure you are following a dictate. Make sure you are following terms of reference in a way whereby any other person who comes would not find himself lost. I know you would have to give your handover note. There are critical things that should be there. I mean, when it is your time, you leave. For me, if I'm to push, I would even say it might be important, because some of these people who are there might have been compromised. I'm not saying they are compromised, because some politicians, you know how politicians behave. They might have engaged them, they might have had plans with them, but when they leave, they never knew something like this would happen. That is where I'm seeing it. But let us strengthen the institution. So regardless of, I mean, if you are supposed to stay for 30 years, you know that it's 30 years. Unfortunately, your 30th year to retire, or 35th year to retire, happen to be within this period. You leave, just hand over properly, and don't begin to want to extend the goalpost.
I buy your idea completely, but the fear there now is, have we reached to that stage where the systems and this thing are completely on the ideal situation? And the one other fear, the major fear, is let it be followed, let the thing be followed as constitutionally. If so, the chief is leaving, let the next in rank, no matter, because we have cases where you say it's people I trust, that then you will change the goalpost that you are fearing.
You will retire.
That is, you will retire
some people to bring up the one you want.
That's what I'm saying. So that is why I was calling for strong systems.
That is the fear we are not seeing. Talking of manipulation.
Don't worry. 2023, it's going to be a very good year. Okay, let's move on. The domestic card is coming up tomorrow. Is it today or tomorrow? Okay, let me start with you, Sam. Okay, do you think CBN has really given us enough enlightenment about this domestic card that has been launched? Okay, let me tell you the story. It said expectations high as CBN launches domestic card payment scheme. Is it like ATM card or debit card?
Yeah, they want to make all the banks, regardless of the bank that you have, to use just a single card. For me, no matter what their plans are, there has not been quality awareness, strong awareness over it, just as there is no strong awareness even over the currency, the rebranding of the currency. I was not privileged to touch or see that currency just till I came back from Abuja, and some of my friends around, we wanted to have a feel of it. And if you go to the bank, I withdrew in Abuja, they gave me the new currency note. I withdrew yesterday here in Oka, I received the old currency note. So the question now is, I know government is always a system. I will keep saying this. And there should always be interagency relationship between, there should be between the Central Bank of Nigeria and the National Orientation Agency and every other relevant stakeholders, who should always pass to the citizens some sensitive information. Unfortunately, all what we know is because we usually visit the internet, because we surf the net to get information. That is why many of us know about it. And regardless of that, many persons who even stay in the urban areas barely know about this policy of the central bank. How much more those who are at the rural areas? We are talking about those who are unbanked. So I think what the central bank needs to do, just like every other MDAs of the government, why they are coming out with any policy, they should look at the effects, the consequences of those policies.
But I think this one, they said, is just for maybe international transaction, you know, for withdrawal of payments of payments on international currency like dollars, pounds, and all those ones, okay? I don't think he has to, but they still call it domestic card. So that is why we are confused.
Regardless of what it is, I think they need to improve on their public relation department of the central bank. Very important. And open up so that the citizens can engage them, so that the citizens can ask questions. Because otherwise, it's not central bank that would finally, when they implement it, that will embrace it. It is the citizens. And once there is no mass adoption in any policy, it's bound to fail.
Okay. So talking about CBN, 6 sons, former AGF lawyers, their DSS to arrest Emefiele. So why are we going with this? Why do you think they're arresting him in the first place, from the redesign of the new currency to this domestic card? What is his offense?
That will tell you what I was saying before, that so many people, so many agents are trying to, to mess up the system. That is the simple thing. There are some powers behind the screen trying to mess up the system so that they can continue to perpetuate their fraudulent this thing upon this nation.
That's corruption fighting back.
That is the corruption fighting back. And that is the people, the masquerades that are people that are under the masquerade are trying to use everything to make sure that the light doesn't shine in this nation. And that is what they are doing.
Okay, let's look at other papers again. On the Nation newspaper, Tinubu rallies APC leaders, candidates for elections as the major story there. And then from the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria loses 8 trillion naira to forests arbitrage in 3 years. Too bad. Then Daily Trust, to 2023, military pledges defense for democracy. Let's look at the riders there. It has come to stay, CDS says. And then Buhari, Osibanjo, CJN governors held fallen heroes on Remembrance Day. Widows of fallen heroes lament hardship. Wike commends Buhari's efforts in defeating Boko Haram. Defeating in parentheses anyway. Okay. And then down here we'll have bandits born Catholic priest shoots another in Niger. I don't know. Okay, let's see the last paper and then we'll start talking again. From the Nigerian Tribune, scramble for Kano, Lagos, Oyo, Rivers, Kaduna voters. With the rider there, Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwankwaso flood stays with mobilizers. And then down here, Tinubu Shetima in closed door meeting with APC. Okay, so these are the papers at this story. Political now from Tribunes for Kano, Lagos, and Oyo.
Bulk of the votes. And that's why Wike has been driving them, because that is why some people in Lagos so if you watch the predecessor of Wike, he was among the engine house of that made Buhari.
Okay, that's Amechi.
So Wike now is trying to be another Corosus. So, and then Kano and the Lagos, because of the bulk of the votes there, that's why they are centering there. not actually coming to show what you have for the masses, but to catch the votes. And it's unfortunate that some of us are not so enlightened to follow issues, to analyze the system very well and know where to flow with. But we are carried away by emotions, sentiments, and so on and so forth. Maybe one politician will try to use one thing or the other to deceive the masses. They will just flow in there. And that is the mistake we have been making. And it will be very unfortunate if we will repeat that mistake.
I hope we don't. Let me come to you, Sam. Kano, Lagos, Kaduna, and all these places that will have bulk votes. If, as an analyst, how do you see the sharing of votes from these political parties? At least the three major, no, it's four now. When you talk about Kano, NNPP is there. So how do you think the votes will be shared there?
Okay, for me, they are scrambling for votes, and it's expected, no matter the ideas that you have, no matter how wonderful it is, if you don't get into power, I doubt if you can implement it. There have been several cases of debates where some candidates will reel out wonderful ideas, how they want to connect with the people. And most of the times, the analysts or the presenters ask them, so what are your strategies? Because if you don't win, there is no way all these wonderful plans you have can get to the people. And then they begin to bring out their strategies. So fortunately, that is what politics is all about. And this is when you need to begin that politicking. You have to scramble. You need to do every legal, reasonable things possible to convince the people that you are the best fit for it. But it is also important that while they are doing that, there are key things that they are supposed to look out for. They should not undermine the democracy of the state. They should not also undermine the governance system of the state. That any political party wants to amass votes does not mean they should throw away governance. What do I mean by governance? The health, the education, standard of living, food security of the citizens. No matter the decisions you make, you must make sure that those things are still in check. Now, for me, the way I see it is, this is one of the strongest political season that Nigeria in the Fourth Republic has found itself. We've always had two-horse race, and we were talking of the third force. So, but beyond third force, we now had another fourth factor. Yes, many a times those who are looking at history would always tell you that they are sure that it is just two parties that are in this race. But for us who have embraced the new order, just as it has happened in different other countries like Kenya and the likes of them, we believe that there is a third force that is also potent enough. And I wish all the politicians well, but we know that still we will not undertone the influence of ethnic and religious sentiment in voting. And Nigerians have not become very, very educated enough to distill what each party presidential candidates are saying. But for me, and this is what I'm seeing, beyond what these candidates and their parties are promising, it is important to hold them and keep them on one hand. But I think
if you are asked to give us percentage of the votes that the four candidates will get in Kano and Lagos, how will you provide it?
Well, over years, Kano and Lagos has always been skewed away from the PDP. No, Kano was initially a PDP state before it was taken over by the APC, and currently it is under APC control. But in Kano, Rabiu Kwankwaso was the PDP when he was the governor. He held. So
how many percentage do you think he can? Do you think he can get 25%?
He has his Kwankwasia movement, and they are very, very powerful.
Well, he can get up to 25%.
No, well, for me, I'm thinking Kwankwaso would actually lead in Kano.
Okay.
Because of his, he would lead in Kano.
And then perhaps who will lead in Lagos?
Lagos is actually a neutral state. It's going to be a very, very strong battle between APC, PDP, and Labour Party. APC because over time, both the AD, ACN have been in charge of Labour Party of Lagos. Then PDP have inroads in
How
Lagos.
strong?
But
Can anybody
we know-
get 25% there?
Of course, no, they would. They would all
Okay,
get
and
25%.
who are you giving it to?
APC will get 25% there.
Okay.
Labour Party will get 25% there. PDP will get 25% there.
Okay, thank you. And then Kaduna. Kaduna is the home state of the Labour Party vice presidential candidates, and it's a stronghold for APC because they are in charge in Kaduna. How do you think the votes there will be divided?
Kaduna South, because of the way El-Rufai has handled issues around security, Kaduna South, which is predominantly Christian dominated, have lost interest in El-Rufai. So I don't see them skewing to APC. And of course, with the influence of Ahmed Dati, I see Kaduna South giving Labour Party massive vote.
Do you actually see Ahmed as a strong force in Kaduna State?
Of course he is. Don't also forget that his elder brother is a strong official with the Arewa family.
All right.
And he has his own influence
All
there.
right, thank you very much. Let's move on. The final story, we saw these stories in so many places. We want to take it now. Bakari once against Emiloko politics says it breeds dictatorship. I think we saw it first from the Daily Sun, where he said, reject candidates who shun the base, parrot forged identities and slander opponents. That's coming from Pastor Tunde Bakari.
Yes, in Igbo we say, I think I will support him in that. Anyone who is hiding to come out and they answer the people and they show what you have in stock. Is it when the person is in power that we have time to come and they answer? Because governance and politics is all about being accountable. You have to be accountable to the people. You have to answer the people each time. This is how you are, because you are employed by the people.
I think Tunde Bakari is of the APC stock.
Yes.
Is he kind of campaigning against his party?
That's what I'm
Because Emilokon is APC's slogan.
You know, Tunde Bakari, you know, those people, you cannot predict them.
Oh, really?
You cannot predict them. Even their likes, like Fani Kayede and so on. He has been jumping from here to here. And anything can change.
Politicians jump.
They jump from here to there. And because he's
Nigerian politicians, because they don't jump in America. Once you're a Democrat, you're a Democrat, a Republican, just like that. But here in Nigeria, our politicians
and
are
they mix up pastoral work with political distance. So he can claim he's led. But what I know is, in this one, I have always said, I think I bought that idea even before he said it.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I think that's much we can go this morning on Press Review. There's so many other stories to talk about, but then we can't do everything under the time given to us. So please you go out there and get your papers and get details of these stories and many more. I'd like to thank you very much, Samuel Ololo. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And a word for me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then Simon Nwafo Ezofoma. The two names that are giving me problem are the people that I have together today. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Anambra and all Nigerians. I will continue to pray that God will make us to do the right thing and get the right choice this time around.
Very important. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for joining us. We still have other programs we have packaged for your viewing pleasure, so you just stand by as we get ready to bring it to you. My name is Steve Jama. God bless you.